It's tough. Can't explain.
It is my second time with cancer. I had breast cancer 17 years ago. And I do know positive attitude makes all the difference in how we heal and go through it.
Hopefully one day we'll get rid of cancer altogether, and I'd still like to be alive to see that day, but we're going to do all we can until then.
It's 100% community funded and 100% community built.
The Dream Playground here at Lake Manawa is 18,000 square feet of fun that's ADA compliant for children of all abilities.
What is the worst pronunciation of Freedom Akinbologun you've ever heard?
I heard that one.
What is the correct pronunciation of your name?
From 3 News Now and the Omaha World-Herald, this is Omaha Sunday Morning with Jennifer Griswold.
Good morning, and thank you for joining us this morning. I'm Jennifer Griswold. Today is the big day, a grand opening for a labor of love that's been in the works for more than 2 years. Council Bluffs will unveil a new play area at Lake Manawa. The Dream Playground will open, and it's the largest ADA-compliant playground in the state of Iowa. 3 News Now reporter Megan Hahn took a tour of the Dream Playground and has this story from Council Bluffs.
The Dream Playground here at Lake Manawa is 18,000 square feet of fun that's ADA compliant for children of all abilities.
It's 100% community funded and 100% community built.
The Dream Playground is a reimagining of the original structure that's been a Lake Manawa icon for decades. The rebuilding is making the site a safe place for children of all abilities to learn and grow.
Simple math problems, and it's, unending what they can do. And again, wheelchair accessible. As they're on here, they're learning their balance skills, and it's everything that's in here is designed to have fun, but the kids are developing their physical muscles.
Specialized rubber flooring makes navigating the playground easier for wheelchairs, and there's specialized swings and slides, even a merry-go-round that's wheelchair accessible.
When we built it, ADA was not part of the vocabulary, and so there was a portion of children, a significant portion, that couldn't enjoy this playground. And so it was very important to the committee that when we did rebuild the playground, that we made sure that all children can play here, regardless of physical capability.
From the climbing structures resembling Council Bluffs' famed Dodge House to an elephant character named Nellie, elements incorporate the colorful history of Council Bluffs.
In 1905, the circus came to town and the elephants played and bathed in Lake Manawa Park.
The playground is a labor of love that'll be enjoyed for decades to come.
So, the volunteers that were involved in this, and we kept track, ages 3 to 88 were involved in this project. So it truly is a community effort, and we're so proud and we can't wait.
Sunday's grand opening kicks off at 2:30 and there's a ribbon cutting at 3. Reporting from Lake Manawa and Council Bluffs, I'm Megan Hahn, 3 News Now.
Such a great playground. Spreading love instead of hate. That's the message for high school students across the Omaha area. They gathered at the relatively new Tri-Faith campus at Sterling Ridge in West Omaha this past week with the goal of learning about people with different backgrounds. 3 News Now reporter Alexa Ray on how students came together.
Promoting empowerment in our world, 10 students from 18 schools across the Omaha Metro gathered today to discuss different types of bias and bigotry occurring in the world today.
I think it's important to know how other people's backgrounds are, so you don't judge them,
Especially at school. Students say it's not uncommon to see types of hateful behavior at school, and when it happens, they often didn't know how to help those affected.
I find myself being a bystander a lot when I should be helping others out.
But today, leaders showed students ways to help those who feel they have no one to turn to when hateful acts happen to them.
Become an ally and help kids with different situations.
Students say that in today's world, a lot of people are divided and tend to judge people based on their race, religion, or ethnicity. Organizers of today's workshop say that attending something like this gives students confidence to discuss differences in a respectful way.
I was in a session just a few minutes ago and a student said, I really liked that we were able to talk about things and disagree and still talk. And I think that's, that's something that we want to see modeled.
Students who attended say that they now feel empowered to go back to school and help anyone who is being treated poorly.
Instead of trying to stand up to the person who did it or something, go to that person who it was done to and make them feel like, take away what that person did to them.
Students that attended the workshop will now become advocates for their school to work toward the goal of becoming no place for hate. Doing the right thing is always important, even more so if you get pulled over. What you should and should not do the next time you find yourself in a traffic stop. We've recently started an effort to make Omaha a safer place to live. Our Safe Roads Now initiative is a series of reports digging deeper into the issue of distracted driving and possible solutions. You can get a ticket for texting and driving, but in Nebraska, only if you commit another more serious offense first. 3 News Now reporter Megan Hahn spoke with the Nebraska State Patrol on how to behave if you do get pulled over.
When it comes to distracted driving, police officers have seen it all.
Reading a book, eating, playing with their pet, trying to light a cigarette, things like that as well.
But eventually, distracted driving can catch up to drivers and lead to a ticket when also pulled over for something else.
To do when getting pulled over is a lesson not only for the young drivers, but for seasoned drivers as well, as many of us are completely unaware of what to do when we are pulled over.
There are some lessons to remember during a traffic stop. Move over to the right shoulder if possible. Stay calm. Keep hands visible. And don't reach for your license or registration unless instructed. And passengers in the vehicle should also keep their hands visible.
So your attitude during the traffic stop is very important. Just have a good attitude when you get pulled over. Greet us just like we would greet you. Give us the same respect that you would want.
In an effort to keep drivers informed and safe, the State Department of Motor Vehicles is adding a section on traffic stops to its manual.
One of our senators, Carol Blood, brought this to the attention of the DMV, worked with the DMV to help get this language into the driver's manual. And in addition to that, AAA created a module for all driver education instructors. So this information is now in the How to Drive book with a separate syllabus to help kids do some role-playing actions on what to do when they get pulled over. It's all about keeping the driver safe, their passengers safe, and of course those officers safe in these traffic stops. We have to keep in mind that they're doing this for our safety.
For Safe Roads Now, I'm Megan Hahn, 3 News Now.
AAA Nebraska urges drivers to remember the 3 A's during a traffic stop. They are attitude, action, and appreciation. And we want to hear from you. Tell us how distracted drivers are affecting you. Email us at saferoads@3newsnow.com and visit our website 3newsnow.com/saferoads. With the passage of another front early today, temperatures will be slightly cooler, but the biggest change will be the wind. Gusts for most of the day will range from 30 to 40 miles per hour. For the week ahead, the wind will settle down, but with the arrival of a front Tuesday, temperatures will remain cooler than normal for the rest of the week. There is some good news for trick-or-treaters. This Halloween looks dry with highs in the 50s. But as we wind down the month of October and head into November, there are a couple of chances for showers. Dozens of dogs and cats are in the Omaha area hoping to find new homes after they escaped dangerous flooding conditions in the panhandle of Florida from Hurricane Michael. Nearly 40 dogs and more than 24 cats arrived in Council Bluffs. Hearts United for Animals sponsored the flight. They hope to put the animals up for adoption. Folks here in Omaha are familiar with seeing the police helicopter overhead during emergencies and manhunts. Now the headquarters for Able One might be on the move. Why the police department is considering moving out of the North Omaha Airport and where it might be headed. We've all heard the unique sound of a helicopter whipping by overhead. Oftentimes, it's the Omaha police chopper, known as Able One, tracking down a fugitive or pinpointing the location of a suspect. The helicopter is based at the North Omaha Airport near 72nd and Bennington Road, but perhaps not for much longer. 3 News Now reporter Jacob Zakowski on why it might be moving.
These helicopters are very vital to our everyday, what we do.
Able One is a fleet of 3 operating helicopters that can track down suspects sometimes instantly or help find people. The Omaha City Council will discuss moving the OPD fleet from the North Omaha Airport to the Blair Airport. The agreement would use more than $1 million to remodel the area of the Blair Airport and pay $3,000 a month for the first 5 years of a 10-year lease. OPD says Blair would give them stability, a bigger updated hangar and offices, and a fire sprinkler system for safety.
First, we'd like to thank North Omaha Airport for all they have done, they continue to do for us. But right now, OPD is looking for the future, and the future's at Blair Airport.
The OPD helicopter fleet has been at the North Omaha Airport for 22 years and is currently leasing month to month. Airport owner Keith Enquist says they've been negotiating a lease contract for 2 years at a cheaper price and says he would offer them a long-term deal as well. Edwards explains there's also plenty of room for expansion, but he hasn't heard from the police chief as to why they're moving.
All we have to do is simply agree that they want to stay there for a period of time. I can guarantee the airport will stay open that long.
Council President Ben Gray says Chief Schmatter has discussed meetings with Edwards, but the cost to move to Blair is necessary for continuing the security helicopters provide, and a long-term solution is needed for these vital machines in fighting crime.
More importantly is the stability of the police department with its air fleet. And right now that stability did not exist, according to our police chief, who has had several discussions with the North Omaha Airport.
The public hearing will take place on October 30th, and the vote by the City Council is scheduled for 2 weeks. Reporting near 72nd and Bennington Road, Jack Wazakowski, 3 News Now.
If the lease agreement with Blair is approved, OPD hopes to have the hangar remodeled and move in by spring of 2019. Those who volunteer their time to make their neighborhoods safer were honored this week. Omaha Police held the Omaha Coalition of Citizen Patrol's 23rd Annual Awards Banquet at the DC Center Banquet Facility near 120th and Maple. The group recognized as Patroller of the Year and honored OPD officers who have shown a commitment to the citizen patrols. Police say the patrols are a resource who help officers on the street.
Nobody knows the neighborhoods like the people that live in them. So it's really a great resource for us to be able to use when we need that extra set of eyes and ears.
Citizen Patrol volunteers spend thousands of hours each year working with OPD officers and Douglas County deputies to keep their neighborhoods safe. Nebraska State Trooper Sam Mortensen spent some time in Washington, D.C. at the White House this week, representing Nebraska law enforcement in the fight against opioid abuse. President Donald Trump signed legislation addressing the crisis. Since September 2017, NSP has seized more than 170 pounds of fentanyl during traffic stops. Cavity-free by 2023. That's the goal for some local elementary school students. How they're getting some help from some Creighton dental students. That story when Omaha Sunday Morning continues. Right after Omaha Sunday Morning, as always, you can catch a great CBS Sunday Morning. Jane Pauley is here now with a preview. And hey, Jane, what can people expect to see?
A lot of great stuff, Jenny. Well, for one thing, Tracy Smith is spending some time with the actor Jonah Hill, who you and your audience may remember from comedies like Superbad, 2 Oscar nominations for Wolf of Wall Street and Moneyball. But he's talking this week about his directorial debut in a movie called Mid-90s. It's a coming-of-age film about the mid-90s. Let's roll a clip.
It's about growing up. It's about youth and about a time in your life when your friends are more important than your family, and when it's you and your friends versus the world. And that seems to really connect with people, and it's been really beautiful to watch.
Does that idea connect with you, Jenny? Coming of age, your friends more important than your family?
It does. It's when you really start to figure out who you are as a person, and those movies I know have always spoken to me. It's incredible to feel that connection and know that you're not alone too.
Well, I agree, but I'm going to tell you something. When Jonah Hill went to the Academy Awards on those 2 occasions where he didn't pick up the Oscar, so he has that still to look forward to, but did he call his friends from the mid-90s? No. He took his mom both times.
Oh,
lovely.
The mom in me loves that. That is wonderful. Good
Yeah.
note. What else can we look forward to for today, Jane?
Well, we're celebrating the Halloween genre, the horror movies that I do not partake of myself. I hear rumors of them. I can actually do a recreation of the iconic scene, say, from the movie Psycho, which I have in my life never seen. The Stephen King movies, the Halloween genre that some people can't get enough of, the new genre of horror movies that are so scary when I see the billboards advertising them. I have to avert my eyes because they're so terrifying. But I guess on Sunday morning we'll find a way to make it safe in the company of friends and family. And a beautiful Sunday morning, I will feel safe in diving into the horror film genre for Halloween. And I'll tell you, you may not know this, maybe you were an English major and you do know it, but we're celebrating the 200th anniversary of a great horror story from literature, Frankenstein. 1818, 200 years ago, created by Mary Shelley, who at the time she created Dr. Frankenstein and his monster was 18 years old. Talk about the fevered mind of a teenage girl.
Wow, that's some great history. I personally love horror movies, but speaking of Halloween, I have to ask you. Yeah, I do. I really do. But I have to ask you because you have a special birthday. Your birthday is actually on Halloween. Now, my son came early, but he was originally due to be born on Halloween. And when I got that due date, more people said to me, oh, no, that would be terrible. And I thought it would be fantastic.
No.
Is it good?
Halloween is the best birthday. It really is. You know, I've never been to a Halloween party where someone didn't think to bring a cake or at least a chocolate cupcake with orange icing on it for me. My birthday is never forgotten. Halloween is sort of a kid's day. Even grown-ups get to, get in on the fun. It is the best birthday. So I think you and your son should double up and celebrate his birthday, but also celebrate his due date.
Oh, I like that.
It's the best. And you're going to hear from people who hear this interview and say, Jane was right. Halloween is the best birthday.
Well, I think it's awesome. Happy birthday to you.
Thank you. See?
See? It's great. Enjoy your candy and your cake. Well, be sure to watch CBS Sunday Morning starting at 8 o'clock. A few years ago, the Creighton School of Dentistry partnered with Nelson Mandela Elementary School in North Omaha to offer dental care to students who sometimes don't have access to it. Today, the program is giving both dental students and Mandela students something to smile about. 3 News Now anchor Emily Zink takes us in the classroom.
Back in February of 2017.
Your mark, get set, go.
Creighton University's School of Dentistry teamed up with Nelson Mandela Elementary School.
And then you're going to pick up your toothpaste on the side.
Through the Give Kids a Smile partnership, dental students went in the classroom to teach the importance of proper brushing techniques.
This is how I clean my teeth.
Fast forward to today, and the students are still taking care of their smiles.
3 times a day. In the morning, at school in the morning, and at home at night.
So far, for a lot of kids, the program is a success.
And I have no cavities.
That's the goal, 0 cavities at Nelson Mandela by 2023.
And the good thing is they're getting excited about brushing their teeth and taking care of their teeth, which means that we know they're going to take care of their teeth in the future as well.
4th-year dental student Scott McLaren and his classmates not only educate, but provide year-round dental treatment to the school.
This morning we had a lot of the kids who recognized us. They knew what we were doing. They were excited about it.
Through the partnership, the students learn taking pride in their pearly whites now.
W-X-Y-N-T.
Means less chance for cavities.
There we go.
And future health problems. Now that's something to smile about.
Say cheese.
Very cute. Great program, too. It's a cancer diagnosis that often comes too late, but doctors at Nebraska Medicine are working to change that. What they're doing to shift the odds when Omaha Sunday Morning continues.
Frankenstein at 200. On a roll with actor Jonah Hill, plus a solo trek to the South Pole. Tricks and treats this Sunday morning.
Survival rates and treatment for pancreatic cancer have gotten better, but the disease is still considered largely incurable. The 5-year survival rate is only 8%. Health centers across the country are working together to study the disease and hopefully find ways to detect it sooner. Today we take a look at the work happening at Nebraska Medicine. These family members take turns in the hot seat.
If we don't, who will?
Blood bonds them together, and so it's their blood that Nebraska Medicine would like to study.
It was an easy one for me. Mom has pancreatic cancer, so I want to keep others from contracting it.
Everyone in this room is related to Doug Lears' mom, Joanne. While they're here,
They're kind of interested in us.
Joanne is in a nearby building at Nebraska Medicine, not having blood drawn from her, but getting chemotherapy drugs pumped into her.
It is my second time with cancer. I had breast cancer 17 years ago. And I do know positive attitude makes all the difference in how we heal and go through it.
Strong, steady, the 74-year-old is a survivor. Joanne is one of 10 siblings. Her brother died of pancreatic cancer. Others have cysts. Compared to others with the disease, she's actually fortunate that the cancer presented painful symptoms. Most often, it doesn't reveal itself until it's spread too far to treat.
Only 20% of patients are diagnosed with pancreas cancer at a point when it's considered surgically resectable.
Dr. Kelsey Clutie and Nebraska Medicine are part of a study with health centers all over the country. They're collecting blood samples from people who are considered to have a higher risk of developing pancreatic cancer, like people with a family history, those with pancreatic cysts, or people who have new onset diabetes. They're creating a large database to use for various research studies to hopefully develop a better way to screen and find these cancers.
It's one of the most collaborative groups in medicine that I've ever seen. I think people who treat this disease are just ready to be done with it, and they don't care who gets the credit for it.
That same feeling pulses through those who've had a loved one diagnosed with it.
It's tough. Can't explain.
They are more than willing to donate blood so others down the line maybe won't have to suffer.
Hopefully one day we'll get rid of cancer altogether, and I'd still like to be alive to see that day, but we're going to do all we can until then.
To find out if you may qualify to donate blood and answer some health history questions for this research project, we have a list of the criteria you must meet with this story on 3newsnow.com. If you have diabetes or family history of pancreatic cancer, you may be eligible to take part. High school students got a backstage pass to a variety of health professions at UNMC. The College of Allied Health Professions and College of Nursing welcomed juniors and seniors who wanted to explore jobs in healthcare. They showed them what each position includes and the schooling necessary.
Keep hearing that I need to get shadowing experience and figure out what I like about each profession so I can have an idea of what each profession is before I get into college.
Admissions advisors were available for students to ask about specific programs and admissions requirements after the event. It's a personal choice for a lot of breast cancer patients, deciding what's the best treatment option for you. Some opt to undergo chemotherapy and radiation, while others choose a mastectomy. But as Shantae Passmore learned, doctors caution that surgery may not be the right choice for everyone.
When a doctor diagnosed Madeline Allen this summer with stage 2 breast cancer, she knew what she wanted for treatment.
So I was saying to my daughter, I'm just going to do what I've always thought and get a total mastectomy on both sides.
Or so she thought, until she met with Dr. Edebaldo Silva.
Between 06 and 13, the number of women having mastectomies and double mastectomies began to increase.
In fact, the numbers showed breast cancer patients like Allen were opting for mastectomy over other available treatment options. Doctors say this rising trend is due in part to high-profile patients sharing their reason for going this route and misinformation.
Namely that they felt mastectomy was more aggressive.
But experts say a mastectomy is not a blanketed treatment option for all breast cancer patients. It's especially ideal for those who carry the BRCA gene. But if you don't fall under that category, you might be wondering right now, what are your other options?
Nearly all women who have small cancers are candidates for breast conservation or lumpectomy.
In the end, Alan made the right medical choice for her.
Well, he said the lumpectomy would be fine. It was just a small little cancer.
After being informed of her options, choosing the lumpectomy along with chemo and radiation. Shante Passmore, 3 News Now.
To hear more from Dr. Silva on breast cancer treatment options, we have an extended version of his interview at 3newsnow.com. Speeding creates not only a danger for other drivers, but for pedestrians too. One Iowa family lost their 14-year-old son because someone was in a hurry. And now they've made it their mission to get people to slow down. 3 News Now reporter Sydney Gray has their story.
As you drive through this small town, you'll notice dirt roads and these signs.
Yeah, it was like losing your best friend.
The radar signs were installed after 14-year-old Tristan White was hit and killed because a driver was speeding.
He was part of the trainer football team his freshman year, and he actually was hit when he was running for wrestling.
Tristan took his last steps on this dirt road 3 years ago. Since then, his family has been working closely with the nonprofit Keep Kids Alive Drive 25 to help raise awareness about safe driving. And 2018 marks the organization's 20-year anniversary.
Our concern as far as our mission goes is anything that happens on and along roadways that affects motorists, passengers, pedestrians, cyclists.
I'll take them. Director Tom Everson met Tristan's family shortly after his death. He says their family's resilience amazes him.
Is that they're so focused on really what good can be brought into this world in honor of Tristan.
The Whites and Keep Kids Alive partner with State Farm Neighborhood Assist and received 2 grants totaling $50,000 to kick off their License to Live initiative. The grant money helped fund the radar signs placed in town. Tristan's family says nothing will ever ease the pain of losing him.
Angry is what continues to go through your head, because that driver did have every bit of ability to slow down and not make it happen. He acknowledged he saw the boys ahead. He acknowledged he saw them switching positions.
He made a poor choice and he ruined more than one life.
Although the signs won't bring their loved one back, Everson says they could keep another family from suffering such great loss.
Oftentimes when people will see those flashing numbers, will check their own speed and slow down accordingly.
In its 20 years, Keep Kids Alive Drive 25 has worked with over 1,700 communities across the U.S. The Whites have since worked with the community to host a mock crash simulation at Trainer High School to make kids aware of risk involved with distracted driving.
It takes 2 seconds for everything to change. It's not worth it.
For Safe Roads Now, Sydney Gray, 3 News Now.
You can learn more about Tristan and Keep Kids Alive Drive 25 on our website. Students at Northwest High School left their classrooms and headed to Ashland's Wildlife Safari Park this week. The real-life skills they practiced and research they conducted to take back to their classrooms when Omaha Sunday Morning continues. For the second time this school year, students at Northwest High School left the classroom and headed to Ashland's Wildlife Safari Park. Instead of checking out the animals, they went into Pawnee Creek to collect samples that college students at UNO would then test. John Kipper shows us the goal of the project.
Students at Northwest High got down and dirty this morning at the Wildlife Safari Park in Ashland.
The textbooks would not show this real-life experience.
It was no field trip for the chemistry class. Instead, they were researchers for the day, going into Pawnee Creek, collecting water samples, as well as macroinvertebrates. or water bugs.
They ran right into the tents, grabbed boots, they're in the water, they're mucking around, they're grabbing samples, they're turning over stones, and they're really getting to know what those macroinvertebrates are.
Students conducted field tests and will send samples to UNO to determine how clean the water is.
There's just a lot of chemicals that come off from the roads and from some of the nearby places. There's golf balls from a golf course near here, and that can harm the animals if they get near it.
Instructors also reminded kids they can do this at home.
We want to teach kids how easy it is to go in their local streams and their local rivers, or maybe even in their creek in their backyard, turn over a stone and look at the macroinvertebrates that are there, and they can determine themselves how clean that water is.
While some may do it as a hobby, students like Junior Austin Hampshire are looking into studying biochemistry in college and hope to take lessons learned today into a future science career.
This is all about the ecosystem and how different soil quality, water quality, pH levels, how it all affects the ecosystem, the plants and animals that live here.
Once UNO tests the samples, they won't go to waste. The zoo will then use the results gathered by the high schoolers as a baseline for future studies.
You could read it in a book and might not understand, but like when you go and like actually do it for yourself, then like it gives you a better understanding of, you know, what's going on.
In the classroom, John Kipper, 3 News Now.
Beginning next semester, a new group of students will conduct research at Pawnee Creek, furthering the studies the current crop of students completed. The Italian families who moved to Omaha from Sicily more than a century ago created a community within the city. And now the University of Nebraska-Lincoln wants to harvest that history. Here's a look at the project underway this weekend and the people who are proud to share their stories.
And so we try to preserve everything so the next generation can experience what we experienced.
When you walk into the narrow Santa Lucia Hall near 7th and Pierce, you feel surrounded by the pride and passion of a group of people and those who came before them.
Everything is done in the tradition of the family. Familia is the most important thing that we have.
Jeremy Canelia knows his roots. He recently visited Carlentini, Sicily to share in their Santa Lucia festival. They've held it for centuries, and in 1925, Italian Americans started their own festival here in Omaha. More than 90 years later, it is still celebrated.
Devotion to Santa Lucia, because Santa Lucia is our patron saint.
On this night, we visited the hall. Rosetta Nastasi and her husband happened to be in Omaha from Carlentini.
Because if you don't have traditions, you have nothing. I mean, that's my own opinion in life. You got to have traditions.
A group of students at UNL is making sure those traditions live on. They created the History Harvest to document people and communities. This weekend, they're asking Italian Americans to bring artifacts like diaries, recipes, letters, and photographs to the Santa Lucia Hall. They'll return the items the same day.
On our street, we had 2 uncles and a bunch of cousins.
Sharing stories in this space is nothing new.
So, I mean, here we are 3 generations and still celebrating our faith, food, and family.
But this time, through this project, the voices telling the history will carry for even more to hear.
If you want to take part in the History Harvest today, we have all the information with this story on 3newsnow.com. Gretna is growing, and the development means space is filling up at its schools. The district has a plan to expand, but voters get the final say. When Omaha Sunday Morning continues, we take a look at the Gretna School Bond and what it would be used for. On the midterm ballot on November 6th, the Gretna School District wants voters to approve an $85 million bond issue. Administrators say the district needs the money to build new facilities and improve current ones due to a jump in enrollment. 3 News Now reporter Shante Passmore on some of the projects the district hopes to tackle.
To be clear, the superintendent isn't calling this bond referendum a wish list. Instead, he's calling it a needs-only list, and it's needed right now, the district says. At first glance, this first-grade classroom at Gretna Elementary School appears fine, only it's operating with mid-century technology in 2018.
As you can see, the windows are worn and have been worn with time.
A lot of the windows are drafty.
Not exactly the kind of tour Principal Andrew Rinaldi wants to give, but he's making his case before Gretna voters on what's at stake at his school.
Also, the heating and cooling in the building, the systems are fairly old.
Classroom storage is limited, and the carpeting is among other things that need to be replaced.
The ceiling tiles also will be replaced, and the lighting will be updated to create more efficiencies in the building.
The potential upgrades are included in an $85 million bond referendum, and the district says the project list is entirely
This is your school district.
people-powered.
This is your money. Tell us what you want.
The district created YouTube videos to show the feedback it received from residents. From there, the project list shows plans for 2 new elementary schools, expanding the high school, and money to buy land for a second high school. The need literally boils down to this.
We've grown by 25% in the last 3 years.
And that's forcing the current schools to upgrade to satisfactory levels. In Gretna, Shantae Passmore, 3 News Now.
If the bond issue passes, homeowners in the Gretna School District will see a property tax levy increase of 3 cents per $100 of assessed valuation. The city of Fremont is growing with a Costco chicken processing plant slated to open sometime next year. City officials are planning for an increase in demand for housing. They're working to keep up with the expected changes. A new development is under construction on the east end of town. 3 News Now reporter Alexa Ray with what's going up in that area.
Gallery 23 East will have residential and commercial property spaces. The residential properties here will range from apartments to multi-family homes. The new development on the southeast corner of Highway 30 and Highway 275 will be the first of its kind here in Fremont.
It will act as a doorway to our community.
The multi-use property will have 188 single-family lots, 69 townhomes, and up to 400 multi-family units on 115 acres. Another 20 acres will be for commercial use.
We wanted to bring a new development, a Village Point type of feel here to the city of Fremont.
Developers Mike and Bill Constantino have been working on the project for 2.5 years.
Infrastructure is actually currently going in, so you're looking at sewer, water, and power. We are going to be installing cement this year. We were hopeful to have all of our cement installed this year, but the majority of that will probably push into 2019.
The commercial property is expected to be up by spring of 2019 and in use by winter of 2019. Director of Sales Mike Horacek says prices for the homes will range from $250,000 to $500,000. Apartment prices have not been decided. Mayor Scott Getzman says the revenue generated from this project will bring necessary economic growth to Fremont.
These homes will be a step up. So there's homes that are in the older part of Fremont that basically are being remodeled and refurbished and then sold. And the people take the dollars that they receive from that and move up into a newer home. And so it helps the entire economy of our community with a housing development like this.
In Fremont, Alexa Ray, 3 News Now.
When Omaha Sunday Morning continues, Phil talks Twitter, barbecue, and on-field celebrations with this week's lucky Husker contestant on Fill in the Blank.
Who is Yap? You'd have to buy a ticket to the New York Philharmonic to find out, unless you watch 60 Minutes tonight.
This Halloween Sunday morning, actor Jonah Hill plus Frankenstein turns 200 and more. Trick or treat, coming right up.
It's that time once again for our Fill in the Blank segment. This week, our sports reporter Phil Bergman sits down with defensive lineman Freedom Akinmoladen to talk barbecue, besties, and black shirts. Let's take a look.
The Twitter handle, Echo. Why Echo?
For you can echo my name.
Do you like when you hear your name echoed in the crowd at the stadium?
Yeah, when they say it right.
What is the worst pronunciation of Freedom Akinmoladen you've ever heard?
Probably that one.
What is the correct pronunciation of your name?
Freedom Akinmoladen.
Who's your BFF on the team?
Probably the Twins.
Do you guys have like a little group chat and all that?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, we definitely do.
If you could name your group, you and the Twins, what would it be?
816.
KC, you represent, right?
Yep.
What do you miss most about Kansas City?
The barbecue.
Best barbecue in Nebraska?
Pass.
Pass? You get a sack in a game, what's your go-to celebration going to be?
The brothers in arms, like me and Carlos, raise one arm and we link together.
How many calories do you eat in a day?
I don't want to think about that. I really don't want to think about that number.
If freedom had a free day with tons of freedom, what would you do?
Eat, sleep, play games.
I like your day. Hey, Freedom, thank you so much for joining me, and this was
Fill in the blank.
That's all for this week. Thanks for watching Omaha Sunday Morning. We'll see you back here next week.